All right, now we're going to go ahead and record this, and we're going to today. I want to show you where on Tinkercad you can find my checker examples, and then you can always take some of those off and manipulate them to suit your needs. Now, if you want to make duplicates, mold and cast, you got to make checkers. You can make something else, 80 millimeters, 80 millimeters tops by say 10 would be the biggest I'd make it. But we probably won't be able to duplicate it. And here's Batman, Superman. If you would, you notice these both say public here. So if you look up Tom Dubik on the search, up here in the top corner of your screen, like right where I have there, Tom Dubik. All right, then we do a search. You'll see me and there. Use this one right there. And there it is. This shows, well, and because I'm in me, it's going to show all of them, but you'll see the two public ones. So if you would, go ahead and try that, just so you can see them. And then when you're ready to share your stuff, what you're going to need to do when you get ready to make your final thing that you want printed, I want you to make it public, and then I can go online and get it. I'm still waiting for these Polar 3D people to send me my printer. We have other printers to use though, so we can use those as well. All right, let me know once you've raised your hand once you've done that for me, okay? You've looked at mine. You can find the checkers. You can find the Superman, Batman. Leave your hands up so that way I know. All right. We are learning how to use, going to go ahead and work on our checkers tonight, or whatever you're going to do for your 3D print. I'm showing you, if you go on Tinkercad right now, go up to the search button where your icon is. Probably not a bad idea to put some kind of profile picture you like. Search my name, Tom Dubik. You can get to Young Engineers of Today, and you'll see these two public ones. These checkers here, these checkers here. And those are something you copy and manipulate to make it yours. All right. So if you will, Daniel, let me know once you've done that. Brian, let me know when you have it done. And Garen, let me know when you found those things, just so I know you know where to look publicly. It's important because, as I mentioned a minute ago, you're going to need to say what you wanted printed publicly so I can get to it. All right? Right here, I'm starting, you can look at mine, but I'm starting the brackets. I'm building in classrooms, they used to be over chalkboards, now it's over whiteboards. They would make a little clip that you could hang a flagpole on. I'm using that clip. I'm going to extend it. We're going to hang airplanes off of it. All right. Okay, now put everybody's hands down. By now, I hope you've gotten it. Brian, do you know what we're talking about? All right, great. If not, just let me know. Brian's the only one I've got here who has done it. Okay. Good, everybody's found them. All right, great. And that's where ultimately you're going to make it public. You'll share it with me. I'll send out a Google data sheet thing. You'll just fill it out. You'll type your name in, what you want, print, and we'll go ahead and do it. Okay, next. And you need to do that sooner rather than later, and that's why I'm going to give you plenty of class time to do that. Let me go right in. I'm going to go into Tinkercad. Again, I want to show you you're going to go into create new design. We've talked plenty about some of these opportunities, but I'm going to drop in again. Let's talk about searching for on your checker. So say a lot of times you want to find an image that you want to bring into your 3D printer. So what I would do is I would do a search. I'm going to do, let's say, type it in here. Let's go ahead and say Panther. Okay, and then I'm going to hit images. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go, there's Panther. Then I'm going to hit, yeah, why is that doing that? Okay, over here I should get advanced search. There it is. And down right here, we've talked about the file formats. There's raster and there's vector. We want vector because it scales at any level. We need to be able to scale this. So there it is, SVG file. We do an advanced search, and there we are. Generally, when you're doing 3D prints, I don't really care about colors. Honestly, I'm printing in just one color right now. Some 3D printers allow two. I've got one printer that does that, but you know, right now we're worried about one color. And so I'm going to go through there and figure out. And if you do a pause, something like there's that white space, that can be a problem as well. So I want simpler. As I'm looking at things to print, I want it to be a little more simpler, and then I can maybe change it with Tinkercad if I want to make it do something else with it. Like that would lend itself. And I'm not sure how they came up with that's a Panther. But we'll go ahead and we'll use this one right here. So like this one would work fine. This one is a black of that, you can tell. Those would all work. Let me try over here. Funny how what they decide what a Panther is. All right, so let's say I'm going to bring in this Panther right here. Okay, so I click over there. There's the drawing of my Panther. That face may be a little bit much to deal with, but we'll go to View Image. Here it is, and there's the Panther Silhouette SVG. So I'll right-click on that, Save As, and you can save it. You can draw it from scratch in Inkscape. But I'm going to do that. I'm going to hit Download. Now I'm going to go into Tinkercad, right up here, where they have all the objects. I'm going to go into Import. It's got to be a 2D shape. It's got to be an SVG. I'm going to choose a file. I'm going to go into Downloads. There it is. I'm going to hit Open. Then what it's going to do is it's going to have Choose File. It'll show up right here. And again, all right. Then I'm going to hit 10%. All right. And I can leave it at 100, but you're going to see, if I do it at 100, watch how big this thing will. Generally, they come in pretty big. See? Huge cat. Don't need it that big. I'm going to click on the cat, delete it out. I'm going to make it 10%, and I'm going to just make the height 5 millimeters, not 15. There's the cat. All right. So I can put him on the logo of anything. All right. I might even make him a little bit not so, you know. Go ahead and use remember our tools. I'm going to go use my ruler. I want to get this, I want to get the height right there. It says 5. I'm going to make him 3 millimeters. He's there. Say I'm going to put him on put him on another side of a box. All right. No, I don't want to do that. Make it a scale. I can put them right on top. So I can put them right up here. Got to move the square all the way around them a little bit more. So, ooh, I've got them up there, up, down. You can see where see this blue down here. Let me zoom in here a little bit. All right, see that shadow? I'm going to move that shadow. When the whole thing moves in the box, then I've got a much better chance of having them in the box. I'm going to go ahead and shoot them down. Remember, I want to put them in there a little bit thicker. There he is. It's kind of lined up. I'll go ahead and do adjust, align. First I got to select the two things I want to align. All right, so adjust, align, and look, I center it in this direction, and I center him in this direction. And now he's centered. All right, I can group all of them at once, change the color once I go to group them. We're going to make a lighter blue, and we're going to group. Now, with that, because I grouped them, I can do this. And there's my cat. All right, so that's how you can bring in any image on an SVG that's already made. All right, any questions on what I just did? Again, go into Google, go under Images, go under Advanced Search, look for the little flag icon. I'll go ahead and back it up to show you it. All right, over here when you want to go Advanced Search, make sure when you select this image that you go to View Image. All right, and there's clicker.com is a place that has these. And you go to View Image. There it is. All right. And again, be careful about, don't use somebody's work without crediting it, etc. All right. And go on Inkscape. You can copy it there. As far as company and logos, for the most part, people are, if you're doing this for your own stuff, you're making your own little checker, and you're not selling to anybody, you're fine. Go ahead. For the most part, you're fine. For the most part, people recognize that. However, you can't sell it. That's their stuff. And if you go to sell it, you got to pay them something. Okay. Now, let's see. Any questions? Let's go. Oh, yeah. When we go to search, over here was the advanced search settings. And again, we're just file type SVG, which is vector. Okay. Raster is all the other ones you usually are used to anyways. Bounce up here. All right. The flag holder thingy, what about the flag holder thingy? All right. Do we have any other questions, folks? All right, I'll give you 15 minutes to go ahead and try that one out or work on yours. How many people have their checkers already done? Nice. Okay, good. Make sure you share them. Try to see if you can make that in a cookie maker. You've got to take this imprint and flip it, basically, to get that. So say I was going to try to make this into, I would need to flip it, because if you think about it, if I wanted to make a cookie cutter out of this, for that, I need to make the mirror image of that. And that would be a lot of times letters. Let's see, I'm not sure about this right now. We'd have to pull it out. I'm playing with that a little bit on how you would make a cookie cutter off this. So why don't everybody work on that? I'm going to move this over and I'll show it to you in a minute. Move him over here. Good. And then you could do something like this where you could actually make them a little bit bigger. Let's get them down to 50. Might make them a little bit bigger. 5 centimeters is 2 inches. That gives you an idea. Yeah. So we're at 56 there. I made a mirror of it. And then you might put a handle on it. And then we would need to cut the inside of the cat out. Make a silhouette out of it, which is not trivial, by the way. I'm not sure I would lend myself to trying to do that with a panther. I could do this. Again, I'm not sure how well a cookie cutter lends itself, well, a panther lends itself well to a cookie. There's a lot of tiny pieces here. But if you look at this, you can make a profile of a cat right here. All we've got to do is add a handle on either side of this, raise it up, put a handle, and you can make a cookie cutter out of this. So take that, make this cat a hole, and then put it into things. All right? So that's a pretty clever thing to do. All right. I have the logos on mine. I'm making some aesthetic changes. Good. That's the very first one. And save multiple copies of yours, folks. And make sure you always name it. I'm going to say Design Panther. Let's go ahead here. While I do that, I'm going to bring you down and get you started over here too. Give it a few more minutes. Okay, it's 5:26. Giving you a few more minutes. Go ahead and work on this. And then I want to show you how to take, sometimes you go ahead and you will look for a SVG, but you're going, that's not really what I want. But there might be a bitmap out there you want. Now, of course, you can always just draw something in Inkscape. And that will save it as an SVG, so you can bring it right in. There we go. So if you draw anything in Bitscape, in Inkscape here, Corel Draw, any of the drawing programs, you're right in that new document, you're good to go. And that will print. Well, we're going to talk about some other things we're going to do here in a minute. Yes, you can, Jeremy, and we're going to actually talk about how to do that right in a few minutes. I'll give you a few more minutes here, and then we're going to go ahead and do that. All right. Guys, keep going. We got a couple more minutes. We'll start hitting it. All right. Can I get everybody's got any questions? Let's get going on here. Daniel, you got a question? Hey, Daniel.
No, sir.
Okay, I'm going to put everybody's hands down. Put your hand back up if you have a question. All right. Now, all right. So we're going to go from raster to vector. All right. You know, in this we're doing a Scratch game because you use vector graphics in Scratch, but you want a graph so you can have a lot of different costumes. Well, you can go out like we just said just a second ago, just to repeat it. Go into here. Let me move everything over so you can see it. Go into images, go to advanced settings, go to advanced search, select SVG. But sometimes that's less than ideal. You don't have what you're really looking for. So say we want a raster image like this. So this is a bitmap or PNG, but we want to make that into a vector image. We're going to do that. And we're going to do an import as this. So right now we'll go out. Everybody, if you would watch or join me here, please. Duck search. Looking around for a duck image. I'm going to go ahead and I've downloaded one. I'm going to go ahead and pull it back up a little bit earlier. The key I wanted to point out to you, though, is you go to these images. Remember, you click here. You need to view the image. All right? And then save image, save image as. This is a PNG, right? So we could try to pull that image off there. It may or may not work real well. Okay? So and then I have some SVGs. Duck on a water, duck, SVG, duck GP, JPL. I've got a bunch here. So I'm going to go in there. And let's go back over here. Inkscape. Come on, Inkscape. All right. I'm going to go in here. I've downloaded it. I'm going to open. Okay. If I can find. Okay, here we go. Where's my duckies? There we go, ducks. All right, now, those are all, of course, I pulled up every SVG check. Oh my goodness gracious, Mr. D. There's duck GPL. Let's open that. Okay. Hopefully it is a duck GPL. All right, now we're going to. Usually when I've gotten mine, I've found that I could import it directly and not have that issue. So I'm going to go ahead and just download a new duck because I'm afraid that's not really the image we want. So bear with me one second, folks. Doesn't matter, duck. And I went on Edmodo. In fact, I'll use the duck you guys all had. I'm going to pause this for a second. So I'm going to Edmodo. I got the duck. I'm going to do an import. Import. Desktop for me. I just brought that in just a second ago. We'll go open. Say OK. There it is. Move them right over here. So I've imported them. All right. Now, and you can do different import type choices, smooth, etc. It asked. In my case, it just didn't ask that time. But then we're going to go trace bitmap. All right. So, and once we hit trace bitmap, there's several properties we work with. We can work with single scan or we can do multiple scans. When I have done this, I have found that it's sometimes confusing because it'll scan it right over the image, so you have to pull it out. All right. You'll do this, you'll get a preview, but you didn't realize that when you create one, let me get to this picture right here, you have to pull it off from here. Let me show you what I mean. All right. And it's not always really clear. I'm looking for a good picture of this. When you pull it off here, sometimes you'll do it and you don't even see that you've gotten your object. So let me go ahead and go back up. All right, so there it is. So next script, let's do this. So let me go to Inkscape. Hopefully you've gotten a duck and you pulled it up in the Inkscape. Or you've Googled, I don't care, use a duck. Use whatever you want. All right, it matters not to me. All right, now let me go ahead and pull it off here. Okay. Here it is, trace bitmap. It was what I went to right off the bat. You go to trace bitmap. All right, you're going to see this image up here. And so here's a single scan. I'm going to go ahead and just do that and update it. You'll see it there. That'll give you an update, and you can start playing with these things to see how well you like it. Now, what I want to do is when you hit OK on this, I just hit OK. It may or may not show up. Let's view in, zoom in, zoom in. Select the pointer and it'll pull out. You have to pull it off. If you don't do that, you won't see it and you won't think it's done anything. So everybody go ahead and make sure you at least do that. All right? So there's your image. Use your pointer. If you don't do this, you're going to think, oh my gosh, I didn't really make I didn't make an image of it. So go ahead and try that. Do it with a single scan and do it with a multiple scan. You can try out different ideas. Like, so I can go to here, I can go to multiple this time. It's no longer on brightness up there, and go with grays. Actually, and remove background. Let's go ahead and update that. Then OK. Back over pointer. That one didn't. Let me try it again. Update that. There it goes. In this case, it changed it right on there. You can see the difference. Click on a pointer. I can do this. Pull off a little bit. I pulled it off right there. All right. And you can pick out different layers off this actually. All right. But you really, ultimately, we don't care about color. Like, you can keep colors in there if you wanted. Update it again. You see me, I'm updating it. And there's 8 scans there. Okay. Sometimes it takes a little bit. Try that again. All right. Say okay. Now I've got that color one on there. Really have messed them up, huh? All right. All right, I'm going to take this one because I don't really like all these other ones, but these are ways you can bitmap it. We have to clean that up with the eraser and doing some other things to it. Now, you know, single scan creates just one pass, so it's just one line around it. Multiple scans obviously do several. Some keep color like we saw, some don't. Here's an update with a preview right there. You click on update, it shows it up on this screen. You may, here's some other ones, multiple scans, smooth, gray scans. You can get this, play with the edge detection. Just go ahead and experiment with that. If you do a single scan, you have to make sure you pull it off that edge, or it's not going to make any sense to you. After tracing, you try to simplify to reduce the number of nodes. So you might have 1,500 nodes to begin with, but if you do that, it'll reduce them. So let's go over here to mine. So there's this guy. So I'm going to go to paths, all right, and then simplify. So that was at 100, now it's at 127. All right. That was layer 8 of 7. See, down here it'll tell you what. I wasn't making that very clear. See, that's a group of 8 object in that layer. Group 7 objects in layer 1. And there we go. And there's our guy. And this is probably what we're going to use. So I'm going to delete this one, delete this one. See, and there was the one underneath it, right there. I took the one off the top. See if I got the edit undo there. Well, and we'll take him out of here. All right, so we got this one right here. I've got it down to this one right now. Now the next point of this is we're going to save it. All right, and what we want to do is, let me back up. Now the document is just, let me back up one more here. Say we go save it, we're going to go to document properties. We're going to resize the page to content. So we took the duck, we did a single layer of it, we got away from the duck so we could see it, we deleted the original duck, and we're back here. Let me go back up there. I'm pulling up the duck I don't want. All right, so there he is. So I'm going to do File, Document Properties. Here it is, under Document Properties. I am going to resize page to content right there. So resize page to drawing or selection. All right, so I just did that. So I just hit resize page to content. We saw it right there. Okay. Again, I had to click that. And I did that the next part, which is what we just did right there, right? Now the document is just the size of the graphic, so you won't get that additional white border in your export. You're just going to have that same size that. And then we're going to save it to our desktop, and it'll be in an SVG format. And now your previous bitmap raster graphic is now a vector graphic. So let me go back here, and then we're going to import him in a minute. So there he is right there. So I'm going to save him. Let's go ahead and close that. File, save as. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to call him Final Duck. All right. And the best way to do this is a couple times. So that's on downloads. I'll save them there. Okay, can everybody give that just a try right now and experiment with it a little bit? Raise your hand if you've given it a try. So this is another way to get a bitmap file or something you took a picture of and you want to get it into an SVG format. Now, okay, most folks have done that. Let's go down here. We've gone over search it online, how to convert a raster to a vector, which we just did. We can draw it on our own. All right. If you want to print it, we just want one path. In this case, I'm going to go one path. And that's what I tried, a simple, that's what I did. I like that. You can take multiple traces, just make sure you edit the nodes and you can pull them all off. So if you did multiple traces, you would do edit node, that's that little icon right here. Let me go ahead and pull up Inkscape. If this was an editable path, I'd go there, I'd pull up a node, and I'd edit by my paths. This is one, it wouldn't do that. And then I would just pull it off and pull one of those paths. So you could pull this one, you might end up with, say, this. Off that. Now if you do that, again, there's several paths around this bird to give it colors. So you're selecting just one of those. Make sure you unlink it from the other ones down the road. There's an ungroup over here, all right? On your edits. Let me pull this up. So if you've got all these layers, right? You make sure that as you work on these, if it was a possibility, now because I've got a single, it's not really showing me this, but over here in the edit files, you can ungroup everything, all right? If that makes sense. And because remember, vector graphics, like a lot of drawing programs, there's layers on top of them, quite a bit. Okay, and remember, we set the properties to draw the page to get that the right size, which we just finished up doing. Save it. And then we're going to go into Tinkercad. We're going to import it back in there. So I'm going to go pull that bugger right in here. I'll go Design, New. I'm going to go to choose File. Final Duck. I put that open. I'm going to import it. Probably going to end up real big. There it is, a little bit big. So let's go ahead. We'll make them. We'll delete that guy. We'll import them at 25%. And we're only going to make them 5 millimeters tall. I'm going, there he is. Oh, I was starting to get a little bit worried. And so there he is. Now, the only thing, and this is why I really like the simpler the better, because here's the problem you're going to have to work your way through. This guy has got all these pieces on him. Now, what we could do is make him bigger. Now, let me undo that. I don't like how that turned out. Shift, so I can make him so he's to scale. Let me delete that little lower one off. And then you can do things like, honestly, come over here, make this a hole, and clean them up like that, which would be a bit tedious. Whatever way you do it, it's going to be tedious, where you clean it off the SVG or you clean it off this way. Let's say I made that a group right there. Well, you got to be careful. You could start to delete different pieces off of this thing. So say I take it right there. I have to blow this up so I get it just where I want it. Group it. If I group it, watch what happens. I clean that off. So I can start doing things where I slowly, I mean, this is not something you would do just casually. So you better really want the graphic you've got. I'm going to shift this, let me go this way. I'm going to take the top of that down. I'm going to make a little eraser with this thing. So make that a hole. I'm going to put it right against. All right, group it. Well, that didn't take it off there. Should have. Let me try one thing here. See how that deleted off? For some reason that one didn't pop, and I'm not sure what, if I didn't get it quite right before. But that's how you could delete some of the stuff off there. Let me undo that. Let's see if we did this. All right. Group it. There it is. So you can clean it off. It's just going to be really kind of tedious to clean Mr. Duck off here to use them. Oh, I did it. It was just too yellow. Thank you, Charlie. I got it right here, too. So this is another method of bringing things in. You may just be better off drawing what you want on your SVG file and draw it before you try to import it from somewhere else. I wouldn't worry about, personally, I don't worry about the colors because I'm going to just bring it in Tinkercad and nail it. All right? But this way you can get your logo for your cookie. Has anybody come up with a cookie cutter they're doing? Has anybody got a checker they would wish to share so we can put it up for everybody to see it? All right, Garen, you've got one. Share me your name on it. Should I just look under Garen? So is Daniels. Let me see Daniels. Let me go ahead here. I'm going to go over to, I'm going to go, in a minute, I'm going to get rid of Mr. Duckhead there. But let's, okay. I'm using a free account. Good. So I'm going to, Daniel, what's DJ, all right, DJ Coxon. Now look at Garen's next too. So here we go. There he is. So we click on that. Here's his public. And let's look at this. All right. I would say the only comment I've got is make sure you name it something that means something to you. All right. Now, what is this? Very cool. So I could copy and tinker that. All right. Now, okay. So you've got those printed on there. Make sure they're deeper in there. Make sure they're sticking inside this. Like, is this grouped or ungrouped? Let me do this. So I'm tinkering that. Make sure you group these. You can't print them if they're not grouped. So Daniel, and I made a copy of it. I'm not touching yours. This is the copy I was using. Okay? So don't worry. Make sure you make it a group. Also think about the rest of the checkers. If you look at mine, you put a ridge on them. I notice checkers do that. Let me find another one here. Garen, I'm going to look under Garen. I guess it's under Garen. Is that true? Now look under Nico's here in a minute. There we go, Garen. Okay, Garen, you got to make yours public. All right, there it is. Apple versus Minecraft. He's given to... Oh, look at this. Nice as well. Okay, copy and tinker that. It's got a definite aesthetic to it. All right. I would say to you, as I've said to everybody, I would group these. And I might change the color so I can really see what... See, there's some level of detail there I couldn't see with that black. So I'm going to go to a... like a gray here. I think it might be a little bit better. There you go. And I would group this. All right, now you're set. So that one's cool. Again, we're not going to have... I know you like the white there, but let's get this whole thing grouped. Change that to a off-white. Group it. There you go. Just, if you would, Daniel, add a ridge or something, just a little bit of something extra to it, and it makes it look a little bit more. Hey, Garen, how did you get these ridges here? You've got yours is not a perfect circle. Was yours a circle? And I'm just seeing this on my screen. Again, you couldn't go out printing these checkers and selling them or something. Apple and these people would get upset. I used a tube for the ridge. So let me see here. Tube for the ridge. Oh, there it is. So you used one of these. Hopefully it. And how did you get? And the tube has a ridge on it, a little more of a ridge to it. Yeah, there you are. Yeah, it does have a little more of a ridge to it. That's a nice touch. He used the thin tube. Oh, and then you put it on the outside of it to give it that. Okay. So I think what he did is he took this thin tube right here and he put it around another cylinder. So if I made that cylinder just real quick so you guys can see this, like a blue, made my tube a little bit bigger. Let me do shift. Line these up. Adjust. Boom. Boom. Take this one down. That kind of look? Yep, you're going to have to do a lot of resizing. So that's another nice technique. Well done, guys, with you and Daniel. All right, Nico, you've got one I'd like to see. Jeremy's got one. Nico, do you have one? Can I look under your names, guys? That might be the easiest way. So if you give me your usernames, that's probably fastest for us. All right, let's try Nico. If that's okay, guys. All right. Nico, is that, what would it be? Nico Saka? All right, let me find that. Nico Soto. Come on. Okay, let me try this. Is there, am I spelling your name wrong there, man? For some reason I'm doing something wrong, buddy. Check to see if you were logged into something else. I've got Nico right here. If I do that, I can find it. So it might not have your last name on it. No. All right. Can you remember what? Wait a minute. Whatever, it doesn't have it. I'll come back and we'll try to look again. Yeah, make sure you're public. And the link may be the easy way to access it. Thank you. All right. Help me out there with the links, guys. Okay, copy. Oh, here it is. There it is right there. The link is right down there at the bottom. You can share with people. All right, so I'm going to take the link. Let me go back up here. I had a link right here from Jeremy. We'll go ahead and copy this. So let me go ahead and get Jeremy's. I'm going to share this link with you all, folks, and go ahead and try to take a look at this one. Here, Brotherhood versus Enclave. I'm looking forward to seeing this. Okay, sweet looking thing. Oh, let me go ahead. What did I just do that for? Copy and tinker. that one, both these are really cool. The issue's going to be, we may make them a 1 or 2 standoffs. Molding these is going to be a little bit tougher, but we'll go ahead and try. Make sure you press your ease down. That's very cool right there. All right. And Nico, go ahead and give me the link and we'll look at yours. Oh, there it is. You gave me the link. Sorry. Here's the link from Nico right here. There is. All right, there we go. Wait a minute. Here's Nico, checkers. Funny how that is. There it is. Oh, look at these. Copy and tinker. Oh, Wally GitHub. Very nice. So again, in different styles on this as well. All 3 of these guys, good job. And I like the suggestion of link. I've been just searching by the person as I used mine. But that's clearly the link is the superior way to go. All right, we've been more than an hour on this, and I appreciate everybody that was here today. Let me see if we got any more questions here. Okay, make sure in Charlotte we have lab Tuesday. Harrisburg we have lab Thursday. Raleigh will be that Saturday. Winston-Salem will actually well, none of those are in high school besides those. So you want to make sure you get this so we can start printing these out. I need to get these sooner rather than later as you get them. I will put something out tomorrow so you can send me a link as you get them. And we'll start printing them. Okay? And what we're going to do is once you have it, I'm going to show you, we're going to need to put a plate under yours. Let me show you what I mean by that. That'd be a really good idea for me to show everybody. We want a little outer edge plate. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Okay. Let me go back over here for me. I want to show you mine. I got to show you what you've got to add to your print. We found that we get better prints with it. If this will ever go in my lifetime. All right, there we go. Watch this one, folks. All right, so these are what everybody's doing. But if you look at mine, you're going to see something. You need this little layer here and here so that when we pour the mold, we get this edge can be a little messed up, but the original edge of the checker will be in good shape. So I will give you the dimensions of that. It just needs to be a few millimeters bigger than the original. And if you make this one a little deeper, that's great. So here, see how I have that little plate there and a little plate here. You need that in addition to whatever you want to make the checker out of. All right. Any questions on that? But look at my checker and look at these 2 checkers in here, as opposed to the other ones that has a little plate. Those plates are there to help us mold and cast it. These really don't have that, right? But these do. That plate is really important for us to do it. And all it needs is to be just a plate. It doesn't have to be super thick or anything, but that's the part we're going to glue to the bottom of our drums as we start replicating these. Okay? All right then. And again, when we go to do these in the lab, we're going to end up doing these in such a way that we're going to combine checkers. So you can get with a partner and say, hey, I've got 2, you want to do it with my 2? Or, you know, hey, I'll design one side, you design yours. We'll form them. That'll take probably realistically about 45 minutes to get that all done properly as we wait on them. And then we will do another, and then with a little bit of luck and time, we'll start casting little checkers. And you'll get a sense of how all this works. Okay? For the people in Charlotte, I'll tell you right now, we're going to have to park at the main entrance to Lanton, as the school will be in spring break. We're going to be coming out there on our own time. All right. Well, everybody, I hope you enjoyed class today. And I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.